Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Tablelands Regional Council Ordinary Meeting for January. Can I remind everyone to turn off their devices or put them on silent, please? Do we have any apologies today? No. Could I ask everyone to be upstanding, please? I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we work and live, and pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. We'll now observe a minute's silence as a mark of respect for those residents who had passed away during the previous month. Councillors, before we proceed with that minute's silence, TRC is today joining Queensland cities and towns to recognise the Day of Mourning and unite with Queenslanders against anti-Semitism. Light Will Win is the theme chose for this day by Bondi Chabad community after the December 14 attacks on the Jewish community in Bondi. We are flying our flag at half-mast today, and we encourage all community members to observe a minute's silence at 6:01 p.m. and please light and leave a candle on your doorstep or window as a symbol of remembrance, mourning and solidarity with the Jewish community. Other acts to show support to the Jewish community might also include coming together to share a meal and spend time with family and friends of all faiths and backgrounds, and donating blood or plasma at Lifeblood AU and at Red Cross AU. We'll now observe a minute's silence. Thank you. Item 6, councillors, declarations of any interest by councillors or senior council officers. No declarations today. Item 7, confirmation of the minutes of the 18th of December. We'd have a mover that those be a true and accurate record. Mover and seconder. Councillor Vilney, Councillor Spanos. Those in favour. Councillor Kaji, you're not voting. 7, thank you. Business arising from those minutes and actions out of the minutes of the previous meeting. Do you have anything to go up on the screen, Jackie? We have councillors will have received an email from our governance team regarding business without notice from the 27th of November. Councillors have all received that email last week. Is everyone happy with that? Thank thank you. The 18th of December was our December meeting. Is this one here? Oh, this one was Councillor Barty.
There was 3 items from the one.
Got it.
Yeah.
Councillor Barty
Yeah.
was chasing some information.
That
Have
was
you
in
received?
I've been told that it's coming later, like next month. It's about the temporary path.
Okay, response from the Strategic Assets Manager, ongoing.
Yeah.
Once practical completion is achieved, we'll be able to pull the financial records for presentation. I would estimate we will then have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good, thank you. And the second one is Councillor Cardew asked a question in relation to the recent Packhorse Creek, Sluice Creek Road Causeway construction delivery. And there's a response to that, Councillor Cardew. Are you satisfied with that?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. And the final one, Councillor Cardew requested an update in relation to the project that has not yet commenced, Griffin Road drainage. So we've got a response from the Manager for Environment and Natural Assets. Request for grant funding was unsuccessful. The grant provider advised that the proposed activities were not within the activated local council's REAP action plan. The grant cannot be used for the development of strategic or planning documents to further investments, and suggested that TRC propose an alternative compliant with grant guidelines. Councillor Cardew.
Yeah, no, I'm not entirely satisfied with that one. I don't know why we're relying on grants to do this drainage upgrade work when it's been a continuous problem for many years. Why aren't we doing something about it? Why aren't we budgeting for it? So I know that there's other drainage issues coming up very soon in the meeting, and I would like to think that this would be incorporated in those drainage projects that are ongoing and problematic, so that we can, if we can't get grant funding, we can set allocation from council to start doing something on Griffin Road, because something needs to be done. It's every year we get the same problem. So I don't know why we're just relying on grant funds to do this. That wasn't the intent. So I think we just need to move forward with that drainage and put it in the, included in those ones that are going to be problematic, and get something done about it. If we can't get money, we do something ourselves.
Noted, Councillor Cardew. Are there any other business arising from the minutes from the floor? No, thank you. That brings us to item 9, our deputations. And councillors, today we have the Malanda Show Society. We have the President, Greg English, and the Senior Vice President and Calliards Coordinator, Colleen McLucas. If I could invite you both up to the lectern, please. About 10 minutes, Greg.
I'll talk quickly.
We might need 10 and a half, but not much.
If I'm nearly finished, please let me finish, don't cut me off. Good morning, Mayor, councillors, CEO and staff. Firstly, this is not a council bashing exercise, but facts need to be stated. I would like to start with a quote from the Mayor in an email dated the 3rd of December 2020. I just wanted to reaffirm the proposition the Malanda Show could relocate to the school grounds or some other place is not one that I support, nor has this council ever considered such a proposal. It's my view that the Malanda Show has exactly the right home, and value adding the current site is the way to go. Just wanted to clarify that. Rod Marty, Mayor, 3rd of December 2020. The Malanda Show relies on our volunteer committee and a paid manager to run our annual show, plus other events throughout the year. We are fortunate to have a great community of volunteers that rally together to help with the show preparations, the 3 days of the show and the clean-up afterwards. The same applies to all other events hosted by Malanda Show throughout the year. Some of our committee members have connections with the show going back 3 to 4 generations, and they currently have 3 generations involved in our show. For these families, it's not just a show, but it's a part of our heritage and commitment to the community of Malanda. We are a not-for-profit organisation, and therefore capital expenditure cannot be funded solely from our yearly earnings, and we therefore rely on grants to assist us with major projects. Unfortunately, at this stage, we have been unable to source a grant to help with the Cattle Yards project. Both the Cattle Yards roof and the yards themselves are definitely showing their age. I've missed a bit. In reality, it would be common sense financially to replace both the yards and the roof simultaneously, as the current roof is attached to the yards. During the beef handling school in May last year, we met councillors Kevin Cardew, Marie Barty and Con Spenos at the show yards, and a few weeks later, Deputy Mayor Dave Bilney also came and had a look at the roof. From there, we involved stakeholders and a structural engineer before obtaining quotes for a roof replacement. This was followed with a meeting on the 4th of August 25 with CEO Nicola Stepanoff at the council chambers to present this information. We were told at this meeting that she was unaware of any money budgeted for the Malanda Showgrounds cattle yards in previous years' budgets. We have since obtained copies of the 21-22, 22-23 and 23-24 TRC 10-year capital budgets from the budget and operational plans, and in each of these 3 reports there was funding not only for the roof but for the cattle yards as well. In 21-22, a total of $156,000 was budgeted for the roof replacement and $470,000 for the replacement of the yards. The project was combined in the 22-23 budget with a value of $450,000 and a time frame of 2023-24, and in the 23-24 budget with a value of $450,000 with a 24-25 time frame. Unfortunately, the 24-25 and 25-26 budget and operational plans show no breakup or details, so we were unclear of what works were included for the Malanda Showgrounds cattle yards in those 2 years. The point is that there has been previously money budgeted for both the cattle yards and the roof. As this has been in the TRC budget documents since 21-22, it has not been at the top of the Show Society's to-do list, and many other projects have been financed and completed by the Malanda Show Society. When we first started looking into the possibility of replacing the roof over the yards at the showgrounds, little did we know how much of an impact the loss of the pavilion would have on us financially. In reality, the running of the 25 show was a financial challenge as we incurred expenses that were not faced in previous years. For the 24 show, we were fortunate to have the use of the power supply that is located at the pavilion, but this was not possible for the 2025 show. The combination of the extra cost for generators and lighting, combined with the necessity of hiring portaloos and disabled portaloos, has had a huge impact on our 25 financial results. The only disabled toilets currently on the showground are located within the supper room. Our inability to host the annual show ball for the last 2 years has caused a significant loss of income for the committee, and being unable to access all our equipment which is stored in the pavilion has also affected us financially. We have also had a loss of revenue as we have been unable to have the hall exhibits and indoor vendors in the pavilion. The hall exhibits have always been very popular with all residents, and therefore our gate numbers have been affected over the last 2 years because of the pavilion closure. We will have to ride out these issues until the new multi-purpose community facility is completed on the showgrounds. In previous years, we have had the ability to generate good profits to the popularity of the show. This, coupled with grants, has provided us the financial resources to make improvements to our facilities on the showgrounds. For example, in recent years, we have funded a new main ticket office on Thomas Street, a new portable ticket office on Park Avenue, installation of the B-double loading ramp, the fit out of the kitchen, the purchase and installation of the cold room in the supper room, along with the purchase of equipment for the parenting facilities in the disabled toilet when the supper rooms were extended. Replacements and upgrades to the dairy sheds, upgrades to the horse stables, new cattle wash bays, replacement of the loading ramp for led cattle, and repairs to the rear loading ramp at the cattle yards. Repairs and maintenance to the cattle yards, sandblasting and repainting of the sale room, and new lights throughout all dairy, cattle and beef sheds, to name a few. The Malanda Showgrounds cattle yards are not only used for the 3-day show, but act as a transit yard servicing the beef and dairy producers all year round, making it a vital facility for the livestock sector of the TRC. In 2022, with the cooperation of the TRC and TMR, we were able to obtain a B-double permit for legal entry into the showgrounds, enabling safe and practical transportation of cattle to the JBS Meatworks in Townsville. These yards are the primary offloading centre for cattle arriving from southern areas. Apart from the B-double service, these yards are also used during the annual beef handling and judging school, the annual dairy youth camp, as well as the Better Beef Open Days, cattle sales and the Malanda Bull Ride. These yards are the only facility of their type and are heavily relied upon by all beef and dairy producers within TRC. The Malanda Show Committee is proud to present a true agricultural show, which, coupled with the Bull Ride, are two of the major events within the Tablelands Regional Council. We are currently carrying out upgrades, repairs and maintenance to our facilities, but due to the high cost of a roof replacement, we are unable to fund this improvement. At the meeting with the TRC in August, it was suggested that the TRC may be able to loan us the funds for this improvement. However, due to the impact of the extra costs incurred due to the pavilion and supper room closure, our financial future is going to be tight, and any surplus funds that we have invested will need to be maintained for operating capital. For the 2022 and 2023 shows, we averaged a profit of approximately $50,000 each year across all events, and therefore the loss of $19,500 in 2025 was financially unacceptable. Until the pavilion is replaced, we will continue to face financial challenges. However, we will be putting everything into continuing to hold the Malanda Show and its associated events. Incidentally, this year marks the 109th Malanda Show, with the first show being held in 1916. For the 2024 show, we were given use of a small area in the SES shed for a temporary office for the duration of the show. And in 2025, one of our sponsors, Strategic Builders, loaned us a portable side office for showtime. We appreciate the help we have been given by TRC for office space over the last 2 years. However, we need to be on site for practical and security reasons. We have recently secured grant funding of $94,000 to purchase a demountable office building and fittings, which we would like to position on the showgrounds adjacent to our new ticket office. We look forward to working with the TRC to facilitate this. We also look forward to being included in the planning stage of the new multi-purpose facility. We have still been given no indication if or when we will be able to retrieve our equipment from the pavilion, valued in excess of $150,000. The condition of which will have deteriorated significantly. At the September 2024 council meeting, Councillor Karji suggested the need to form a steering committee of all showground stakeholders. He spoke of the necessity for the Show Society to have a strong voice on this committee. I would suggest that this would mean more than one representative from the Show Society on this committee. As you can see, the Show Society contributes very significantly to the improvement and maintenance of the showgrounds. But now is the time to have a really good look at where we are going with the showgrounds. The money that is being wasted on hiring equipment is stupid beyond belief. Between the show and the bull ride, we are spending between $15,000 to $20,000 annually on hiring toilets alone. Surely this money would be better spent paying off a loan to build permanent structures like new cattle yards and an adequate toilet and shower facility on the showgrounds. Mr. Mayor, as we have done in the past, maybe now is the time to suspend standing orders and have a discussion while we are all here. In closing, I would reiterate the Mayor's quote. It's my view that the Malanda Show has exactly the right home and valuating the current site is the way to go. I would suggest this view is held by many, many people across the Atherton Tablelands. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Colleen, do you want to say something?
Not really, no, if we put this together. So, yeah, I can answer any questions that everyone's got, but, so, yeah.
We won't suspend the standing orders, Greg, but councillors are welcome to ask questions to both of you.
If I could just, we have just received 94,000 for a new office.
Yep.
We got it just like right on Christmas time, and we would like to put it on the showgrounds, obviously.
Yep.
There's just no presence on the showgrounds anymore. You know, we were there at least 3 days a week. The break-ins to all our sheds on the showgrounds have just absolutely skyrocketed because there's just no one on the showgrounds. We really want to put our office right beside the new ticket office that we put there a couple of years ago. We're not asking the council for anything. It's fully funded by grants that we've received. So hopefully you will support that.
Have you made contact with?
We have, no, we've done nothing yet. We've only
We've
just.
got a letter drafted to send.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we just wanted to.
We've only just received the money. Yeah, it was right on Christmas time.
Yeah.
It wasn't the time. We thought today is the day we tell you that we've received it. We're not asking the council for anything. We just want to put it there, and we want to have it there before our show in June.
Yeah, okay.
We're happy to meet anyone that wants to come along
Yeah.
and see that position. I'm very flexible, being self-employed, so yeah, we considered all possible situations for it on the showgrounds, and between that ticket office and the road, heading, you know, towards the so between the ticket office and the supper room, but on the correct side of the road, it makes sense because we have money being handled in the ticket office. And then we can secure that they're not walking across the showgrounds at showtime. And yeah, we've just lost a heap of equipment out with sheds and a container being broken into, and we've had graffiti, and it's really good to monitor the cattle going through the sale yards when there's a presence, but we don't have that at the moment, so it will make a significant difference. Having that situated there. Yeah. And basically when the previous manager applied for this grant, was quite a while ago, we weren't aware that the budgeting for the cattle yards was in question, so yeah.
So is that your department, Mark, that'll go through to locate that office building?
Yeah, so that would usually be a community projects request. So through that process, and we'll work with the Show Society to make sure that we provide appropriate support and advice.
Yeah, thank you.
So,
Councillor Doolan?
Through the chair. The only consideration that I've just thought of is that siting of that particular office, if it's approved, what happens when contractors are engaged to do the deconstruction? There'll be a zone created.
well, it's on the other side of the road.
Just wondering, officers may not be able to commit to anything until such time as they know what that zone will be like. That'll be cordoned off to
It's not a huge building, it's not a huge.
Yeah.
So that's the only
Yeah,
consideration.
we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, in reality, I think any loans through TRC have to be put on hold at this stage, but it's just craziness for us to be spending, and we are $15,000 to $20,000 a year on hiring toilets. That's just an absolute waste of money. We would be far better off to be paying back a loan to you people to put permanent structures there.
Or to improving what's actually there, because they are pretty sad.
Well, the yards and the
No, the
toilets would
toilets in
be,
particular,
well,
yeah.
the toilets,
yeah.
those toilets could be 70 or 80 years old, you know, so they would have been built to cater for the times back then. They're certainly inadequate now. But anyway, thank you for your time.
I've got one more question.
Councillor Cardew?
Yeah, thanks. Greg, is the design for the new ticket the new administration
Office.
office, is it demountable or will it be a fixed structure?
No, demountable, demountable.
The only reason I ask is that, as you're aware, that we'll be starting to look at what we're going to be doing here at showgrounds out there, and you know, if it doesn't complement that end result, it may be able to be picked up and moved.
Yeah,
Correct.
definitely
Correct,
demountable.
Yeah,
To be utilised in the overall scheme.
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
for sure, yeah.
Just one.
Very good.
Yeah,
Fine.
sorry. Hiring of toilets and that sort of thing, once the deconstruction is completed, it's hoped that it's done before the show, that will then realise the supper room amenities to be opened up again, so that
It should be.
So that may.
But are they open for things like the bull ride? They are for the show, but for the
Yeah.
football games, dairy and beef camps, they're only open for the show, basically. Whereas a lot of other facilities, the markets, the footy games, and all the youth camps and cattle sales, they use those other toilets. So they are beneficial for the show, but for the rest of the year round, for all the other activities there, it would be beneficial to have an upgrade to those very, very
So
outdated toilets.
would the council be agreeable to this idea of we meet again, you know, after our next show, see what our hiring costs again are on toilets, and we work together to put together some sort of proposal that we borrow money through TRC and we're paying it off instead of wasting money hiring toilets. Over the course of a loan, $20,000 a year puts a fair dent in things, doesn't it?
Especially when you're having the bull rides
Instead of hiring bloody toilets, which is a waste of money.
and disgusting.
Yeah, so look, we'll be happy to meet at the appropriate time, Greg, so.
Very good. No, that'd be really good. Okay, well, we don't need to, oh, sorry.
I'd be happy to come out and have a look next week. I'll give you, I've
Yeah.
got your number, so.
You've got my number?
Yeah, I've got Colleen's.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Very good. Thank you. Well, we'll continue on.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks
very
for your
much.
time.
Thanks, Colleen. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, councillors, that brings us to item 10, the mayoral minute. I've just got two items today, councillors. First one is a drainage maintenance review. During my elected terms with the Tablelands Regional Council, there have always been challenges in meeting the impacts of stormwater and the related runoff. Today, the region is growing rapidly, as is abundantly clear in both urban and industrial areas. And the increasing pressures on our drainage infrastructure in all forms are higher than ever before. The investment in drainage service levels and maintenance that we could get by with a few years ago may no longer be adequate, as our catchments and drains are often overwhelmed. Last week, I requested the CEO conduct a review focusing on the functionality of some of our critical drainage infrastructure, starting with our detention chambers, and especially where buildings may be impacted by stormwater, with a view to bringing a costed drainage servicing proposal to Council's budget deliberations for 26-27 to include the servicing of known hotspots that exist in our drains and stormwater infrastructure and our detention chambers. Finally, and again, this is a long-standing issue, and I'm pleased that this council will have the opportunity to review the way it maintains stormwater infrastructure and drainage going forward. And just a disclaimer, this does not include drains or stormwater infrastructure on state-controlled roads or other state-owned sites. It's important to also understand that all council's flood recovery work and routine maintenance on roads includes ensuring that drains servicing those roads are maintained and left functional as part of the roadworks themselves, so are not part of this review. And the second item, councillors, disaster preparedness. We're in a pretty good summer season. I'd like to remind community just how important it is to be prepared for this summer season. We may or may not have our second monsoon event for the year over the coming days, so there's still some time to conduct a final sweep of our potential hazards around homes and yards. Be sure to check in with neighbours and especially those who may not be able to manage their own properties. And one strategy we could all adopt could be as simple as ensuring we have a working transistor radio with new batteries. ABC Local Radio in particular does provide a great service during disaster events, and being informed is key. So councillors, I'll move my mayoral minute. Those in favour? Carried. That's 7. Thank you. Item 11.1, the Chief Executive Officer Report, January 2026. I'll hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and through the chair. Welcome back to our first meeting of the calendar year for 2026. I'm very pleased to present our my officer report, which is actually reasonably short this month, given that council had a mandatory closure. Just so the community is informed, so budget work is underway. So much of the work we do at council is actually planned over the course of a financial year and not the calendar year. In that regard, budget preparation for the 2026-2027 financial year is underway across the organisation, including reviewing proposed capital works. For the staff that were on call over the Christmas New Year break, I'd just like to acknowledge the great work that they did when they were on call, and that would be whether they're our refuge centre or rubbish collection, tending to falling trees, monitoring water and sewage treatment facilities, or ensuring arrangements for burials, among the many jobs that continue to need being done irrespective of public holidays. So a huge thank you on behalf of council and the community. Just some exciting things that we have happening within our community. We have a free rural active program. It's a popular free program. It's for men and women aged over 40 and 50. I think there's very few openings left in the...
No, there are. There's only, I think, been one class that is completely sold out, but there are still some open that they're filling fast.
Excellent. So the latest cardio and strength circuit programs which focus on strengthening core muscles. So classes are available at Atherton, Ravenshoe and Miller and are run by an accredited exercise physiologist who will also demonstrate and instruct and supervise participants, but please get in fast and get online and pop your name down. There are also hydrotherapy classes that are offered on Wednesdays between the 4th of February and 11th of March at the Atherton pool. And again, classes are very limited, so please register on the TRC website. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions from the CEO? Thank you. Do we have a mover and seconder of the CEO's report? Councillor Bilney moving, and a seconder. Councillor Hayden. Councillor Bilney, did you wish to speak to that?
No, thanks.
Those in favour? Carried. Thank you. That's item 11.2, land tenure, Mount Garnet Waste Transfer Station.
Through the chair, good morning councillors. I'm pleased to present this report to council. TRC operates the Mount Garnet Waste Transfer Station. During previous review, it was identified that there are historical tenure irregularities dating back many decades, which have resulted in the transfer station being located on land which TRC doesn't actually have tenure over. Specifically, it's located on 11 parcels of state land, both reserve and unallocated state land, and 2 roads. The purpose of this report is to provide an overview of the irregularities and a proposed way forward that has been developed in consultation with the relevant state agencies. In summary, it's not practical to relocate the transfer station to an alternative location, and there are no legislative provisions to allow for the dedication of a new reserve for local government rubbish disposal purposes. Hence, it's proposed that TRC apply for a deed of grant to obtain a freehold interest over all the land. Thanks.
Thanks very much. Any questions for Yvette? Councillor Barty?
But my question was just in relation to on page 10 where it says that there's no statutory obligation on TRC for ongoing maintenance or remediation of the site. I just wondered like the duty of care or moral obligation in relation to landfill.
Thank you, Councillor Barty, for your question. My understanding from speaking with various stakeholders and people who are aware of the historical operations of that site, it may have been operated as a landfill some years ago, but the predecessor council, Herberton Shire, I understand, was responsible for capping of that site, and that is the end of the responsibilities there. On a recent audit of TRC landfills, the Mount Garnet transfer station was not actually identified as part of that audit for landfills, and so there are no ongoing statutory obligations there.
Any more questions? Do we have a mover of the officer's recommendation? Councillor Hayden, moving, and Councillor Spanos. Councillor Hayden, did you wish to talk to that?
No, I'm happy what's in the report.
Thank you. Final call, councillors. Those in favour? Carried, that's 7. That brings us to 11.3, a request for views lot 805 on SP 101838 Reserve Boundary Amendment, Halloran's Hill. Over to you, Yvette. Thank you.
Thank you, through the chair. I'm again pleased to present this report to you also. TRC has received a request for views from the Department of Resources and Mines, Manufacturing and Regional and Rural Development in relation to a term lease over this parcel of land, which was previously granted to it by the state to a third party for commercial purposes. The third party lessee is proposing to surrender their term lease, and the department is seeking council's views on the proposed inclusion of this parcel of land into the adjoining reserve, which is currently under the trusteeship of TRC for water supply purposes. The parcel was originally excised from the reserve to create the original term lease. TRC officers have confirmed that the term lessee is no longer using the area and has removed all their improvements from the land. TRC officers have no objection to this land being included in the adjacent reserve and recommend its inclusion as it may possibly provide additional space for further water infrastructure in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions?
Is it possible to get the photo up on the?
Is it in the report?
Yeah, it's in the report. I'll just, because it is that little.
Page 15.
Page 15, it's the little green bit, isn't it? Is that?
It's certainly a
Yeah.
very tiny parcel.
Yeah.
It's a mere matter of metres by metres.
Is it? Yeah, okay, yeah. No, that's right, I can see it on here, yeah, okay, thank you.
You okay, Councillor Barty?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, any more questions on this one? Do we have a mover and seconder? Councillor Spanos moving. Councillor Barty. Councillor Spanos, did you wish to talk to that?
No, I think it makes sense.
Those in favour? Carried, that's 7. 11.4, change of meeting date, April ordinary council meeting date. Yeah, councillors, this one is related to an event that mayors are invited to in Queensland by. Oh no, this is the ROC delegation. Sorry, yeah. So this is the F&Q ROC delegation is clashing with our March meeting, April meeting, I should say. And so we're just pushing council's April meeting a week later. So it'll go to the 5th Thursday instead of the 4th Thursday. Do we have a mover of the officer's recommendation? Councillor Bilney moving. Seconder, Councillor Barty. Those in favour?
I just
sorry.
I think you asked, Kev, but when's Easter around?
Easter's the beginning of April, I think, isn't it?
Was that right? Is that what we found out?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Beginning of April?
Yeah, because we Googled it.
Yeah.
Is it, okay, I just, oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a mover and a seconder. Those in favour? Carried, that's 7. Okay, that brings us to item 12, placemaking. 12.1, F Rockley, H Rockley and S Rockley reconfiguring a lot, 5 lots into 5 lots and access easement. Lot 1 on RP7 26496, Lot 3 on RP7 41737, Lot 834 on N1 57426, Lot 2 on RP7 15411, and Lot 849 on HR 1378, Melander Atherton Road, Dallop Road and Palachetti Road, Atherton RAL 25/0041. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Councillor, this item relates to an application to reconfigure the 5 lots that the Mayor has just read out, as well as an access easement to reflect the existing access arrangements. Of note is that this proposal does not create any new lots or increase the development of the site. It simply realigns the existing boundaries to better match where the existing houses and agricultural activities are already occurring. The application was impact accessible and one submission was received during the public notification period. This submission raised concerns regarding stormwater flow, traffic safety at the Melander-Atherton Road intersection and associated speed limits along that road. These matters were referred to and were considered by Council's Technical Services team, and as they relate to existing road conditions and state-controlled road matters that are not caused or made worse by this boundary realignment, no conditions are recommended in response to the submission received. The application has been assessed against the planning scheme and conditions have been provided by SARA by TMR. Council officers are satisfied that the proposal protects agricultural land, reflects the rural character, and the recommendation is to approve the application subject to conditions. Are there any questions?
Councillor Barty.
Thanks, Peter. The email that you sent through with the full submitters concerns, have they been responded to on those at all? Or?
No, the submitters receive their decision notice. So the process is this: so first, after council's decision is made, the applicant receives notice of the decision notice arising from the council's decision. After that appeal period has lapsed, if they want to negotiate any conditions or they accept the conditions as passed by council, then the submitters are provided with the notice of decision from council.
Oh, they'll just get the notice of decision, but the concerns won't be addressed?
Yeah, the matters raised in the submissions are also attached to the decision notice.
Yeah.
They don't get any response prior to the matter being decided or the applicant receiving the decision notice though.
Okay, that's great. Mark, I was going to request they've got that request for dropping the speed limit to the intersection and putting in the slip lane. Can they be raised at TAC?
Yes, that can absolutely be raised at TAC.
Yeah, should I send that through to Annette then?
No, I'll send her an email now.
You said, okay, thank you. Yeah, that's it from me.
Councillor Cardew.
Yeah, thanks. Peter, so just to be clear, there was only one submitter and their submission was more around road safety and drainage because, as you said, it's just a reconfiguration of boundaries which has no impact on those other issues. Is that correct?
That's correct, councillor. There's no net increase arising from proposed development on those matters. Not discounting that they are matters that may need to be considered by other agencies such as TMR.
Matters that may need addressing, but not as part of this application.
That's correct, councillor.
Final call, councillors. Questions? Do we have a mover and seconder for 12.1? Councillor Cardew is moving and Councillor Spanos seconding. Councillor Cardew?
No, I'm happy.
Those in favour? Carried, that's 7. 12.2, Draft Far North Queensland Regional Plan 2025, Tablelands Regional Council submission. Thanks, Peter. I'll just let you to give that summary. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This item presents Council's submission to the draft Far North Queensland Regional Plan, which will guide how a region grows and how infrastructure is planned over the next 20 years. The submission supports the overall direction of the plan. However, the submission has been made to ensure that the Tablelands role is clearly recognised. Key points include acknowledging Atherton as the main inland growth centre supporting Cairns, recognising the Tablelands as a nationally significant agricultural region, and highlighting the importance of infrastructure such as the Palmerston Highway, long-term water security, and regional health and education services. The recommendation is for Council to note the submission that has been lodged and also consider inviting the Deputy Premier to launch the final regional plan from the Tablelands once it is adopted. Are there any questions or comments, councillors?
Councillors? Councillor Barty?
It's just a comment. Kelly mentioned the other day that you'd reached out to like the other councils around and like shared this with them, and that they'd sort of adopted something similar.
That's right,
Yeah.
Councillor Barty. Via the FNQ rocket through
Yeah.
the network of councils, there was a lot of exchange across councils within the region, which was efficient in ensuring that the responses that were provided from each of the councils were cohesive and aligned on key principles.
Yeah, I thought that was good to hear. So yeah, thank you.
Councillors? Anyone else like to talk on this one or ask the question, I should say? Okay, do we have a mover and seconder? Councillor Billney is moving. Councillor Barty is seconding. Councillor Billney.
Yeah, through the chair. Look, I just want to thank the officers involved. We had a workshop on the regional plan draft. 6 critical inclusions made loud and clear, which support the tableland. So thank you very much for those involved, Peter. Pass that on, please.
Yeah, look, and I'll reiterate the Deputy Mayor's comments. Really appreciate the work that you and Kelly and the team have done on this one. I think we've highlighted the priorities for Tablelands Regional Council as it relates to the regional plan. And it's good that those neighbouring shires, you know, have helped us with advocacy on the Palmerston and those other key regional assets that are critically important for us. Final call, councillors. Anyone else like to talk on this one? Okay, we've got a mover and seconder. Those in favour? Carried, that's 7. That brings us to infrastructure and environment. 13.1, asset management policy, Corp 002. Thanks, Shane. I'll pass that over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through the chair, councillors, TRC officers have reviewed the corporate asset management policy. Regular reviews keep policies aligned with current operations and best practices and foster a consistent and transparent work environment. The purpose of an asset management policy is to provide a guiding framework for an organization to systematically manage its assets to achieve its strategic goals, ensuring optimal value, performance, and sustainability while controlling costs and risks. It ensures assets deliver required services efficiently over their entire life cycle, supporting long-term financial stability and service delivery. Revised asset management policy is presented to council with a recommendation to adopt.
Thanks, Shane. Questions for Shane? Do we have a mover and seconder? Councillor Spanos moving. Seconder, Councillor Hayden. Councillor Spanos? No. Councillor Hayden? No. Councillor Billings?
Yeah, through the chair. I just want to make a comment about endorsing the asset management plan. It provides council with a clear risk-based understanding of its assets and its funding capacity, which in turn supports the informed and sustainable decisions that we make without committing to unfunded outcomes.
Thanks, Councillor Billings. Councillor Cardew?
Yeah, I'd like to ask Shane, what's the difference between our existing policy and the new one?
Through the chair, there's several differences. So the updated policy contains more detailed principles, including leadership and embedding asset management leadership across the organization. It details through the benefits of asset management, and it provides updates on terminology. So there's consistent language across the organization and the community when we discuss these topics.
Thanks, Shane, because yeah, I won't be able to support this. I think the existing policy is adequate. So, thank you.
Final call, councillors. Anyone wish to talk or a question? Okay, we've got a mover and seconder. Those in favour? That's carried. That's 5-2. That's Councillor Barty and Councillor Cardew. 13.2, TRC Community Facility Asset Criticality Methodology. Thanks, Shane.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through the chair, councillors, in 2019, the Tablelands Regional Council adopted the Community Facilities Strategy, which recognizes that given the significance of community facilities within the region, TRC needs to set benchmarks for the delivery and provision and identify sustainable service standards in the region. A component of strategic planning includes a financially sustainable management of TRC's community facilities. This requires assessment of opportunities to reduce upward pressure on rates and charges and find savings. In accordance with asset management definitions, asset criticality refers to a process of evaluating and ranking assets based on their importance to the community, TRC's operations, and the impact of their failure. It is a way to understand which assets are crucial for business continuity and to prioritize resource allocation. The report sets out a recommended methodology to evaluate each asset's importance to the organization and community with focus on factors such as safety, regulatory impact, utilization, identified surpluses, and alignment to the strategy. Subsequent to a councillor survey, 2 information sessions, a resolution supporting community engagement, and a community engagement survey, the report recommends Council's endorsement to use the community and councillor priorities for defining the asset criticality methodology as seen on page 132 of the agenda. This report sets out the community engagement results and is presented to Council with the recommendation to endorse the methodology for implementation. Mr. Mayor, we open the floor to questions.
Thank you. Questions for Shane? Councillor Barty?
Shane, on page 130, there's 4 recognised issues affecting use of current stock. One of those is low fees. Is that the charge fee for like hall hire and things like that? Is that what that refers to?
Through the chair, yes. So we don't charge for-profits, and we do have lots of peppercorn agreements in place. So with them, yes.
Yeah. Do other councils have similar agreements? Like, is that unusual?
Through the chair, I believe we provide more in that space than other local councils. Yes.
Thank you.
Questions for Shane? Do we have a mover and seconder for 13.2? Councillor Barty, Councillor Spanos. Councillor Barty, wish to talk today?
No. Thanks.
Final call, councillors. Councillor Cardew?
Yeah, thanks. Shane, I noticed there was, out of the community survey, we got a response of 204 people. Is that correct? Yep. And like for me, and from what I can gather, the results of that survey have structured the way or the methodology and way you're going to assess these facilities. Is that right?
Through the chair, no, we utilize the feedback from the community and the councillors to actually, on page 132, the summary with attribute type, to dial in that weighting. So that weighting can be changed by council at any time. So it's subject to the approval. We'll implement that and put that over the asset portfolio, which will provide officers an understanding of which buildings to prioritize for maintenance if you have 2 and we have limited resources. So that chart actually reflects the outcomes from those 2 surveys from yourselves and the community. Yeah. So those numbers can be changed in a year's time if priorities change. Yeah.
That's fine, because that satisfies me, because 204 people out of the whole community, we have a population of 28,000 thereabouts. I'd hate to think that we've structured something around a very minority view when we're the elected members who have been charged with overseeing this. So that puts my mind at rest to some degree. Thank you.
Final call, questions? Okay, we've got a mover and seconder. Those in favour? Carried, that's 7. That brings us to item 13.3, Capital Projects Report, December 2026. I'll pass over to Mark. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Through the chair, this report provides an overview of Council's capital project performance relative to the approved budget to the end of December 2025. It also offers a summary of the capital budget expenditures against the overall program, but also the status of the individual projects within the capital program. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Questions for Mark? Councillor Bilney.
Through the chair, note that the capital spending is approximately 10.5 million underspent and planned. Looking into your crystal ball, will this have a negative implication, particularly if there's any government funding attached to those delays? Or is it likely they'll be caught up by the end of the financial year?
Through the chair, it is quite likely that we will have a underspent across the financial year. It's a bit early to determine how much that would be, but obviously we're tracking quite a bit behind at this point in time for all sorts of different reasons, depending on which project we're talking about. Where projects are funded externally, we are consulting with the funding provider all the time to ensure that we get the appropriate and required extensions of time, or where scopes change, that those are submitted and approved by the funding provider. At the moment, I believe those risks are managed.
Thank you.
Questions? Any more questions for Mark? Do we have a mover and seconder? Councillor Hayden moving and Councillor Bilney seconding. Councillor Hayden?
No, that's all fine, thanks.
Final call, councillors. Those in favour? Carried, that's 7. So that brings us to Community and Corporate Services, item 14.1, Financial Report December 2025. Sorry, I'll go to Hillary. Thanks, Hillary.
Thank you. Through the chair, I'm pleased to present the finance report for December 25. There are 3 recommendations for council in this month's report. The finance report provides the operating and financial position to the end of December 2025. The year-to-date operating revenue is over budget due to a grant payment for disaster recovery works being received earlier than forecast. Similarly, the operating expenditure is slightly over budget by around 1%, as disaster recovery works have commenced sooner than budgeted. This is a positive result for the first 6 months, and as the year progresses, the operational activities are expected to align with budget expectations. Local and endorsed procurement activities also remain strong, representing 93% of procurement activities for the month. The second recommendation deals with movement of $185,000 of underspent operational funds to the capital budget to support the replacement of the audio-visual equipment in this room, which is no longer fit for purpose or compliant. This movement is a reallocation of underspent operational funds and does not increase council's overall budget. If this budget change is endorsed, the changes will be reflected in the second revised budget. And then finally, recommendation 3 addresses changes to our procurement policy, following updates to the Local Government Regulation 2012, which came into effect on the 19th of December last year. The proposed changes ensure our policy continues to align with the regulation definitions for medium and large size contracts, and the recommendation also includes proposed increases to the financial delegations for the CEO and General Managers to align with those new ranges to support efficient operations. I'm happy to take any questions.
Councillors, questions? Do we have a mover of the officer's recommendation? Councillor Lang moving. Seconder, Councillor Spanos. Councillor Lang, did you wish to talk to that? Thank you. Final call, councillors. Those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Uh, 14.2, Q2 Quarterly Performance Reports 2025-26.
Good morning, councillors.
Thanks, Donna. Over to you.
Good morning. I am happy to present the Q2 quarterly performance report. This report provides an overview of key customer-facing activity and response performance across the organization over the past 3 months. It is tracking multiple avenues of public interaction, as well as progress against the operational plan. Of note here is the impressive performance of our after-hours provider during the holiday shutdown, which is a marked improvement over years past. I'm happy to take any questions.
Questions, councillors? Councillor Vardy?
Don, I've been missing something. Page 176, there's the little pie charts. There's one on the lower left, it's got 71% and 29% of CRMs were created by customer service, the others were created by the rest of the organisation. So is that just looking at ones created by TRC, not addressing ones created by the public via the online?
Those are the CRMs that were generated directly through the customer relations team, and then everything else is everything else.
Everything else is everything. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Hayden?
So through the chair, over Christmas, I dialed the after hours number and I said, if it's not important, it's not a road, water main burst or something like that, please don't dial us. More or less, they're more or less saying, well, then we're not going to probably deal with it anyway. So why is that? Would it, if an after hours call, would it not still be important? Have you dialed it? Have you rang them?
There is a change to the message that does deal with the urgency of the calls during a shutdown period. Maybe the choice of language was different. I wasn't across what the exact language was. Yeah.
I didn't change my language, either.
Pardon?
I didn't change my language.
Oh, no, you didn't change your language. There was a change in the language of the announcement, the outgoing announcement on the after hours.
There's quite a few people were ringing me, and so I dialed it.
Yeah.
And they just said, oh, well, if it's not a burst water main or sewage, then leave it be.
Yeah, I think there was a change to reflect the urgency and to let people know that there was a shutdown. Maybe the language was a poor choice of words. I'll check into that.
So I hung up. It wasn't that important. You're that one. It was not important.
Final call for questions for Don. Do we have a mover and seconder of the officer's recommendation for 14.2? Councillor Lang and Councillor Billney. Councillor Lang, do you wish to talk to that?
No, happy with that one as well.
Final call, councillors. Those in favour? Carried, that's 7. Thanks, Don.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you. 14.3, Audit Risk and Improvement Committee, 15 December 2025. I'll go to Hillary on that, thank you.
Thank you, and through the chair, these are the unconfirmed minutes of the December Audit Risk and Improvement Committee meeting. I note that the minutes do require an amendment before they're presented back to the committee for adoption, because they need to note that Deputy Mayor Billney was also an attendee at that meeting. It's also of value to note that we have implemented an expanded annual reporting program for our Audit Risk and Improvement Committee. And at this meeting, in addition to the usual items, the committee considered detailed service level finance reports and the capital and system project reports. So these are additions to the reporting program for our committee. And the committee also signed off the new internal audit plan with our new internal auditor, KPMG. I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Hillary? Just a question on process, Hillary. Do we need to amend that recommendation to add Councillor Billney's name? No.
No, because we're just receiving and noting the unapproved minutes.
Okay, yes. Great, thank you. Do we have a mover for 14.3? Councillor Spanos moving. Seconder, Councillor Billney. Councillor Spanos, you wish to talk to that? No? Thank you. Final call, councillors. Those in favour? Carried, that's 7. Councillors, what we'll do, we'll deal with this notice of motion 1, then we'll break for morning tea before we go into the rest of the agenda. So, item 15.1. So, councillors, we received notice of motion. We received a request from Dr. Clifford Frith seeking a letter of support for the naming of a waterfall in the Frith name. So I assume councillors have actually read that request. So the decision on the naming of the waterfall is not one that we make. It's one that's made by the state. But Dr. Frith is seeking a letter of support from council to support the naming of Frith Falls. So are there any questions from myself or the officer about 15.1? No? I'm happy to move 15.1. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Barty is seconding 15.1. Councillors, anyone like to talk to this one? Okay, those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Okay, councillors, we might adjourn for morning tea. What if we come back at 20 past? We'll adjourn, thank you. Okay, item 16, business without notice. Item 17, confidential.
I've got business without notice, Mayor.
Councillor Cogin.
I put a CR in. I've been asked to put out a big thank you to the construction team from a couple of people. One was a CR I put in for a customer up at E Hill Road on Tuesday about blocked drains, and those drains were cleared the same day. So that was amazing from our general manager right down to the boys on the ground who did the work. Thank you very much, and please pass on those regards for that. The other one was from Graham Twidell. I got a phone call from him this morning saying that the detention basin that was blocked and silted, causing flooding to his industrial building at the Tolga industrial site, has now been cleaned out and looks really good. And they took out a hell of a lot of silt and debris and whatever else was in the bottom of that drain and made the drain more functional. And he also sends his appreciation, wanted me to pass that on to yourself and your team. So I've done that. Thank you.
Thanks. You can record those things, Jackie. That'd be great. Okay, councillors, that brings us to item 17, which is our confidential items. So I'll just read through the preamble here, councillors. So item 17, confidential items. That in accordance with section 254J3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the meeting will close at this part of the meeting to the public for reasons and matters noted. Now there are 4 agenda items in confidential, and the rationale for being confidential is the same for all of them. So the 4 items are Priors Creek Development, Lot 3 car park construction, that was 17.1. 17.2, asset divestment process and investigation. 17.3, contract TRC 2023-21, Uten Road upgrade, stage 2. 17.4, social housing extension of management agreement. These reports are confidential in accordance with section 254J3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, which permits the meeting to be closed to the public for business relating to the following. Item G, negotiations relating to a commercial matter involving the local government for which a public discussion would be likely to prejudice the interests of the local government. Can we have a mover to go into confidential, please? Councillor Lang and Councillor Spanos. Those in favour? Carried, that's 7. Thank you. So, councillors, item 17.1, Priors Creek Development, Lot 3 car park construction. Do we have a mover for option 1? Councillor Spanos moving, and a seconder. Councillor Lang. Those in favour? Carried. So it's 5-2. That's Councillor Hayden and Councillor Cardew. Item 17.2. Asset divestment process and investigation. So, do we have a mover of the officer's recommendation, which I'll read? I didn't read option 1 in the previous. Is that a problem?
Yeah.
I need to read it. Sorry. Can we just go back to 17.1 and I will read, I have to read the full motion. Okay, councillors, option 1 states. Oh yeah, this one's okay, next one, the next one we changed, yeah. Yeah, so option 1 reads, item 1, award a variation to Northern Civil Earthworks Proprietary Limited, trading as Terra Nova Civil, to the value of $1.226205 million, excluding GST for contract TRC 2023-12, to include the construction of a car park in Lot 3 Development Plan 9256 with lighting, refurbishment of the existing railway lane car park with lighting, and upgrade Vernon Street South footpath and curb and channel to current design standards as a new separable portion C. 2. Delegates the authority to the Chief Executive Officer in accordance with the Local Government Act 2009 to negotiate, finalise and execute any and all matters associated with these arrangements, including variations to the contract. 3. Include $485,000 additional budget required to deliver this scope of works in the 2025-26 capital budget by a budget review 2, and allocate sufficient capital budget in the 2026-27 capital budget to finalise the varied scope that year if required due to delayed completion of the project. Thanks. And that was moved by Councillor Spanos, seconded by Councillor Lang, and carried 5-2. (17.2) Asset divestment process and investigation. I'll read the motion first and then ask. Yeah. Okay. So the officer's recommendation: investigation of assets for divestment. That Council 1 support the undertaking of due diligence processes as part of investigating the potential divestment of each of the assets set out in Table 1 as follows. Then I'm just going to go to social housing. As follows in Table 1. Yep. Social housing. 2. Approve the disposal of Tableland Regional Council social housing portfolio comprising the lots set out in attachment 2 in accordance with sections 2361B, 2 and 2 of the Local Government Regulation 2012 by transfer to Tablelands Community Housing Association Inc., a community organisation, without the need for first going to tender or auction. 3. Negotiate and finalise TRC's exit from the National Regulatory System for Community Housing. 4. seek to ensure continued provision of social housing to the Tablelands local government area by TCHA and other local housing providers. And 5, delegate the power to the Chief Executive Officer in accordance with section 2571B of the Local Government Act 2009 to negotiate, finalise and sign all documents and do all things required for the A. Negotiate the approval with the Department of Housing and Public Works in accordance with the Housing Act 2003. B. Discharge of TRC's obligations under the NRSCH funding arrangements. C. Transfer TRC's social housing portfolio to TCHA. And D. Discharge of TRC's contingent liability and share of accumulated surplus with the state. Lions Park Atherton. Resolve to dispose of by deconstruction all community assets located at Lions Park Atherton Lot 23 on NR 800622, excluding the Atherton Lions storage shed. Delegate the power to the Chief Executive Officer in accordance with section 2571B of the Local Government Act 2009 to negotiate, finalise and sign all documents and do all things required for the disposal of community assets on this parcel of land. 8. Resolve that the decision as to whether or not to dispose of the Tablelands Regional Council's interest as trustee of the reserve land at Lot 23 on N8 00622 be taken at time when Council makes a decision regarding the future of the Atherton Lions storage shed. Kirrama Range Forestry Hut. Resolve to submit an application to the Department of Natural Resources and Mines, Manufacturing and Regional and Rural Development to relinquish Tablelands Regional Council's trusteeship over a camping reserve RES 95-028 on Lot 3 on CP CWL 3513 on which the Kirrama Range Forestry Hut is located. 10. Resolve in accordance with section 34CB of the Land Act 1994, Queensland, to grant consent to James Cook University's application to surrender its permit to occupy 22/5379 over permit area A on plan per PER 5379, which includes the Kirrama Range Forestry Hut. 11. Require that any such consent to JCU's application to surrender be conditional upon TRC bearing no financial responsibility for any maintenance or rectification works required in relation to any improvements on the land or any other matter arising out of the surrender application. And 12. Delegate the power to the Chief Executive Officer in accordance with section 2571B, the Local Government Act 2009, to negotiate, finalise and execute any and all matters associated with relinquishing trusteeship over this parcel of land. The Atherton Community Centre. 13. Resolve to dispose of by deconstruction the community assets listed in, is that attachment 2? Is that right? Yes. Attachment 2, located on Lot 2, NR 7968, that comprise the former Atherton State School buildings and Atherton School associated buildings. Delegate the power to the Chief 14. Delegate the power to the Chief Executive Officer in accordance with section 2571B of the Local Government Act 2009 to negotiate, finalise and sign all documents and do all things required for the disposal of the community assets on this parcel of land. 15. Council note that through the ongoing divestment process, council officers are committed to making recommendations to council that bring benefits to the whole of community, reduce depreciation, insurance premiums and other operational costs to improve and strengthen council's financial sustainability, encourage assets to be shared among multiple groups, users and groups to increase utilisation rates, keep community informed of the ongoing asset divestment process, support effective user groups during and after implementation of council's decisions. Is that it? That's it. So can I have a mover of the officer's recommendation, please? Councillor Spanos is moving. A seconder? Councillor Hayden. Those in favour? Carried, that's 7. Okay, 17.3, which is contract TRC 2023-21 Utan Road Upgrade Stage 2. The officer's recommendation that Council, in accordance with Section 2571B of the Local Government Act 2009, delegate authority to the Chief Executive Officer to do all things necessary to resolve the dispute with Gunther Civil Proprietary Limited regarding disputed claims in relation to contract TRC 2023-21 Utan Road Upgrade Stage 2, including review of the financial year 25-26 budget allocation for this project. Can I have a mover and seconder of the officer's recommendation? Councillors. Councillor Lang, moving. Councillor Barty, seconding. Those in favour? Carried. That's 6-1. Councillor Cardew. 17.4. Social housing extension of management agreement. And I'll read the officer's recommendation that Council, in accordance with Section 235 of the Local Government Regulation 2012 and Clause 2A of the Housing Management Agreement between Tablelands Regional Council and Tablelands Community Housing Association Incorporated, extend the term of the current housing management agreement to manage TRC's social housing tenancies, maintenance and reporting for a further 12 months to 31 March 2027 without first inviting quotes or tenders due to the specialised nature of the services, and 2, delegate the power to the Chief Executive Officer to negotiate, finalise and execute the deed of variation to the housing management agreement. Do we have a mover of the officer's recommendation? Councillor Lang is moving. Councillor Bilney seconding. Those in favour? Carried. That's 7. Okay, councillors, that brings our meeting to a close. I'll just remind everyone we've got our Australia Day Awards on Monday. Be a great event. We've got a small citizenship ceremony, and we've also got some SES awards that will be given out on that day as well. So it'll be a great day. There being no further business, I call the meeting closed. Thank you.